Hey guys, it's a beautiful, beautiful morning here in central Indiana. Tried to be here earlier this morning. It's about 10 a.m., but things got away from me. I have a lot to do in the garden, in the vegetable garden, which is what I am sitting right now. And I just want to show you a video about it. If you're new here, I garden in central Indiana. My name is Roxana, and recently, in the last 4 years, I started growing vegetables in my garden. I was always a flower only type of person, perennial shrubs, all of those things. But recently, in the last few years, I started growing vegetables and I fell in love with it. And as you can see, I try to add as many flowers as possible in between my vegetables. I grow tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers, those are like the main. But I also have some melons, I have some watermelons. This is the first year that I tried to do watermelons. I don't know how that's gonna go, honestly. But I have other things as well, and I just try to do as many flowers in between because flowers bring the pollinators, and honestly, flowers make everything even better. So I love how everything is working out so far. Every year as I do this, every year I'll learn something new. I learned that I am not in control. I can do everything right. I can do everything by the book, and still things can just not turn out the way that I expect them to. But I just want to bring you along today because I am doing some transplanting. I am doing a few things here and there that I think that they're fun to document. Let's do this before it gets really, really hot outside. Even though I have a couple of bigger bird baths around my garden, the birds seem to prefer this little watering station that I made for the pollinators. And I just like to come here once a day at least, if not twice a day, because this just evaporates really quickly. And I just like to put fresh water on it. If you're wondering about how this is set up, this is just a plant stand that I got at Menards. Nothing so serious. This bowl right here, I actually got at Home Goods. And I don't actually know. I think this is just decor, but I think that it's glass. Looks really cool. And I got these little racks, I think, at Hobby Lobby. But you know, you don't have to buy racks. You can just get whatever you have in your garden. And the pollinators, bees, butterflies, anything small, they love to come here, and you know, it's not too deep, and they don't risk drowning. And they love it. I probably should have to clean this because my water is really, really hard, and you can tell all the minerals that have accumulated. This bed right here, this is the one that it's kind of, if you think about it, this is kind of going along the property line between the neighbors and where we live. And because of their huge tree that they have on their side, it really, really shades this raised bed. And I didn't really think about it when I put this raised bed here 4 years ago. I really didn't think about the branches of their tree giving shade to this raised bed. That's the east side, that's where the sun comes through, and that's the west side. So the sun just kind of goes like this, and this bed doesn't really get sun until late in the afternoon. So it's not ideal for growing vegetables, but you know, it's something that I have to deal with it now. And I put my onions here this spring, early in the spring, and they're not doing that great. My onions, I get my onion sets from Dixondale Farms. I had great results with buying their onions, and this year is just not that. It's just not the case, and I know it's because they're not getting the necessary amount of sun that they should be getting. So what I'm going to do, I know they're not going to get that big. I mean, they are okay. They're decent size. But I'm going to harvest them already. I am going to let them outside under shade so they can dry a little bit. Then I'm just going to braid them together so that I can keep them inside in a cool place. And they're going to last me for a bit. But it's a little bit of a letdown with my onions this year because they're not that big, you know. but it is what it is. So I am going to harvest this really quick, and then I'll show you what I'm going to plant next. And while I'm here, I'm going to get these carrots out of here, might as well. I am not really good at growing carrots, period, whether they get plenty of sun. I did my best to thin these guys out, but aw, these are bite-sized carrots. Okay, okay. Okay, this little area got me some onions and a few carrots. I'm going to definitely cook the carrots today. They're not that many, but I mean, it's not bad, right? I started a bunch of seeds a couple of weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and these are things that I can still harvest from this season, and these are some of the things as well that I'm going to be harvesting late in the fall. Let me show you what I'm going to plant right here on this bed where the onions were. If you're thinking, wait, my tomatoes aren't even ripening yet and you are already planting seeds for the fall, how does that work? Honestly, starting seeds right now in the middle of summer for your fall planting, it's a new concept that I have to kind of wrap my mind about, because like you said, my tomatoes are just starting to ripen, so I can't even, start harvesting from them yet, and I also have to start my seeds for the fall. Let me show you what I have. On this corner right here, I am going to plant a bunch of sunflowers, and these are the dwarf sunflowers. They are not going to get super huge that they block the sun for my tomatoes or my zinnias, but they're going to get pretty nice, pretty good size. While this is something that I'm not going to be eating, although I could eat the seeds from it, I am not going to really be looking into food for this corner. I am looking for color. I am looking to attract pollinators. I love to grow flowers with my vegetables. And like I said, my gosh, all these weeds. This bed doesn't really get as much sun. So I know that some of the things that I have here are not going to be doing very, very well. So if I can at least get some cut flowers from them, I'll be happy. If you're thinking, my goodness, she is transplanting sunflowers, doesn't she know that she can't do that? I have done this before, many times actually. Even volunteers that come in places where I don't necessarily want them to grow, I transplant them, and they do well. They do really well for me. They may struggle for a little bit, like the first 2 or 3 days, but then they do well. I really like these guys that have the hole at the bottom, because that I can just push, I can just push the plug out. Look at those roots. Cute, 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 cute. I grew these sunflowers last year, and I direct sowed them last year, and really, really late actually. And they performed really, really well, even though it was late in the season. So this year I knew that I wanted to start them a little bit earlier so that they will have more time and be even better. Some of these plugs have 2 seeds growing, and right now as I transplant them, I am not worried about thinning them out. I am going to see if both of them do well with the transplant, and then I'm going to just thin them out, the ones that have 2. when here, I don't know, here maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So I definitely don't want 2 of them growing right next to each other. So starting seeds for 2 or 3 weeks before you are ready to transplant them during the summertime is a great idea because, one, you don't have to fight the roly-polies, which I have been fighting this year. I have an area where I direct sow zinnias on the other side of my house, and they just devoured those. As soon as they germinated, they just took over the zinnias. That's why I have a bunch of zinnias here growing already. I am not going to be transplanting these ones just quite yet. I want them to be slightly bigger because I don't want to raise the roly-polies, just, you know, get into them. But we'll see how these sunflowers do. I am confident that they're not going to be eaten. Fingers crossed. And I am going to be adding mulch here as soon as they are a little bit bigger, maybe like a couple more inches bigger. I am going to be adding the pine mulch that I have been using for my garden this year. I love that pine mulch, you guys. It really keeps the soil nice and moist, and I haven't had any problems with it. This is my first year growing. This is my first year using that type of mulch, and I just love that. So I am done for this corner. By the way, I have a tons of these little containers that are dirty that I have to wash. So that's probably another thing that I could do today. It's starting to get a little bit hot. It's going to be like 85 degrees here today, and it's very humid outside because it has been raining for the last couple of days. I love these containers, you guys. I love this. For this corner right here, or for this little area right here, I have beets. I started them in little bunches, so I have, I don't know, 3 to 5 seeds in each little bunch. That's how I grow my beets, and I love that. I have spinach, gorgeous, and I have some purple bok choy. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at the little root system. Oh, darling. If you're wondering where I get my containers, I got these from Bootstrap Farmer, and they are the ones sponsoring this video. If you're new here, I started using Bootstrap Farmer containers since year 1, since I started growing vegetables and cut flowers from seed. I love their products. Make sure that I leave enough space. They are made in the USA, so that's always a plus for me anyways. And if you have never tried anything from Bootstrap Farmer, you guys, the quality of their containers is just wow. I started getting, you know, like the cheap stuff that you can get at any of your local stores at the beginning of the spring when they are, you know, just trying to sell you all the kits to start all the seeds. And I did that for the first couple of years, and my goodness, those things only work for me one season, and it's all that plastic that I have to get rid of. It's just sad. But honestly, with these containers, I mean, these things are hard. These things will last you for years, and you don't have to worry about them breaking. And there's a bunch of people out there that have done tests about, you know, like how hardy they are, how strong. I don't need to do that. I mean, I am not going to be putting tons of weight on them, you know what I mean? That's just not how I'm going to be using them. Look at the roly-polies, they're already here. My goodness. Okay, these are my gorgeous spinach, and these are about 2 weeks old. We'll see how they do here. This could be a lot closer actually. Has been raining quite a lot here, which is great. Don't get me wrong, I am not complaining. If you're wondering how I started these seeds, all of these seeds that I'm planting here, I did not start them indoors. They were all started outside. But just for the first few days, I protected the little containers from the rain because I didn't want them to be wash out if we had a hard rain. But as soon as they started germinating, I just moved them where they could get plenty of sun, and if it rained, they were getting plenty of water. They seem to be doing just fine. These are the original containers. They do not have a hole. These don't have a hole at the bottom like these guys, so I have to dig. I think that I'm going to get a bunch of these. I mean, I have quite a few of these, but I definitely, you know, these are definitely a lot easier to get out from the original ones. I'm gonna have to grab something. Okay, so that's that. I think that I'm going to have to get this bok choy somewhere else. I have plenty of spots. Okay, I have this cilantro here that it already went to flower. It has tons of seeds. So this is normally what I do with my cilantro. I let it go to seed. I let the seed be ready. And then I just spread it around. And this is why I get tons and tons of volunteers each year. Guys, look at all that coriander. Cilantro is really like a weed in my garden. I mentioned this in another video, and I'm here for it. This is where I'm going to put my bok choy. Look at the roots. I am going to wait a little bit until they are a little bit taller to cover them completely with the mulch, because I don't want to splash them, or I don't want to, you know, just compact them before they even have a chance to grow. I am going to be keeping an eye on the water though, because they're tiny and they can dry really quickly. Oh, hey buddy. My dog's behind me. I mentioned that I have been using these guys for 4 years now, and I can tell you that I still have my first containers, my pink square 10 by 10 containers that I got from them in the first year. And I mean, they look like new. They're strong, you guys. They're just, you cannot compare them with the stuff that you get at the store, period. And yes, they're a little bit more pricey, but you only have to buy them once. So I am going to be getting a few other things from them now in the summer, for me to use next year at the beginning of the year. Because one of the things that I notice is that whenever people are starting to get their seeds started and all of that, they tend to run out of containers. And last year, I think that I wanted some containers in a certain size and a certain color, and I couldn't find it because they were out of them. So right now in the summer is the time for me to get my seeds, get my containers, look into other things that I probably want to do to start in next year, and this is the perfect time for me to do it. So if you were one of those, you know, because I had a few people when I posted about it, you know, whenever I was starting my seeds and I will use these containers, which I use pretty much 100% of the time, you were telling me I can find them anywhere, and unfortunately you have to go through that. But if you're thinking about wanting to get some of these for your seeds, for starting your seeds next year, I will think that this is the best time now to get them. So get to that. This right here is my calendula. I have never had calendula growing in my garden. This is the first year. And I knew that I wanted to save seeds from certain colors. But one of the things that I noticed is that the birds, as soon as these guys start making seeds or start forming the seeds, the birds just like take care of them. So like this guy right here. These had a bunch of seeds on it, but the birds just like took all of them. So I got some of these organza bags. This guy is ready. I got a couple of these tiny organza bags, and I just wrapped them around a couple, especially just the calendula, because I knew that those were the ones getting eaten by the birds. Okay, I have at least 5 seeds in there, then a bunch others. So I have plenty of seeds right here to start my calendula, and I'm actually just going to leave it here. Another cool thing about Bootstrap is that they have a website with a bunch of resources, you guys. If you haven't checked it, take the time to go and check it out. They have a bunch of guides and tutorials on how to grow food and how to use their containers, and I'm really thankful for that, because a lot of companies, you know, they just sell you their product and that's about it, and they don't, you know, help you in how to, you know, be better at what you do, which is gardening and growing food. And I just love that because I get a lot of ideas from them, and also they are very helpful. If you ever need some help from them, just contact them directly through their website or through Instagram, and in my experience they have been really helpful. So here is another organza bag that I did for this calendula. Oh, that one over there is good too. Oh yes, this is beautiful. If you have never seen calendula seeds form, look at that. They look really weird. They almost look like something alien. Okay, that's it. Look at that. Those are calendula seeds, and I have at least a good dozen in there that I know that I can get a bunch of seeds, a bunch of plants for next year. So if the birds are eating your seeds before they actually mature, just get some of these organza bags. They come in different sizes. I got these on Amazon. I'm gonna get, while I'm here, these guys are ready. Look, it's already. Does calendula recede for you where you are? I guess we'll see for me, because this is the first year that I grow it. So, well, this is it for this video, you guys. I obviously have a lot to prune. This summer squash needs to be pruned definitely, because it's just taking over here. The garden is just thriving this year. I am loving everything about it. I am loving my tomatoes, my flowers, everything that is happening here. We're getting some rain here and there. It's not devastating that it's way too much, but it's also plenty that, you know, it keeps my plants growing like crazy. So I'm thankful for that. I hope that your gardens are doing well, whatever you are, whatever it is that you're growing. Let me know if you have any questions about this video, anything that I did. I am not an expert on this. I'm just going with the flow year by year, learning as I do things here. And if you are new here and you enjoy this video, let me know. Maybe like, maybe subscribe. Thank you for being here, and until the next time.